I trust you're doing well. A warm welcome to Rwanda Television News with me, Gloria Mutesi. Starting us off tonight, President Paul Kagame has announced that before the end of next year, Rwanda will be producing a variety of vaccines that include those of Covid-19 and malaria, saying that the construction of the facilities will be 90% complete. The head of state made the statement while engaging the media and citizens across the country on Sunday. Stationary begins our coverage tonight.
The head of state made the statement while engaging with the media and citizens across the country on Sunday, and once again pointed out the need for African countries to work towards meeting their own needs.
Ibihugu bikize, ibihugu bikomeye byo byahereye uko bibona urwo rukingo.
The powerful and rich countries got those vaccines first and then started vaccinating their own people right away, while African countries like Rwanda had to wait. We waited a long time, and when the vaccines started coming in, people were very sick, and all we could do was use the regular preventive measures that are known, that I mentioned earlier. While others were getting those vaccines, we had to wait, and getting them required a lot of pleading and begging. That begging alone could have made a person sick.
The
president also pointed out that refusing to get vaccinated is not logical.
Kubera ko hasigaye hariho uburyo bugenda buza bugaragaza ko ibihugu bimwe bivuga ngo umuntu utarabonye urukingo.
Certain countries have adopted policies that only vaccinated individuals will be allowed through their borders. Now, how will a person who wants to go there do so? That alone will make Rwandans realize the importance of the vaccine, unless they don't travel at all, and we don't have many such people anyway. That is not a problem we have right now. The problem we have is that we have no vaccines.
Currently,
slightly more than 1.5 million Rwandans have received their first jab of the COVID-19 vaccine, while more than 687,000 have been given both their injections. Rwanda, South Africa, and Senegal have been selected on the African continent to begin manufacturing COVID-19 vaccines. People from different walks of life and parts of the country were also able to express the different challenges they face, and a number of issues were highlighted. Our problem is that our rice produce is not bought because imported rice is much cheaper. We are therefore asking the concerned authorities like Minagri and Minicom to review the price of Bugarama rice. We operate vehicles meant for disabled people, facilitating the transportation of goods across the border, and ask that we once again be allowed to use our national IDs to cross, to make things easy for both us and the Congolese, and to promote trade between us. President Paul Kagame gave assurances that the issues they raised will be looked into and resolved. We will work with the concerned authorities to find ways to ensure that our own rice is enough to reach markets abundantly, also ensuring that the quality is good. And what about the question from Rubavu about using IDs in cross-border trade with the DRC? I believe a solution will soon be available. Let them be patient. A solution will be found to facilitate Rwandans and the Congolese when it comes to trade. The president also commented on the Paul Rusesabagina case and the people who keep calling for his release, stressing that the man is facing justice in a competent court of law and that justice will be served.
Now, during his speaking to the press on Sunday, President Paul Kagame also spoke about Rwanda's relations with her neighbors.
Asked about Rwanda's neighbor to the south, His Excellency Paul Kagame had this to say.
With Burundi, we want to improve our relations, and Burundi does want that from what we've had, seen. And our ministers, security officials have met at different times. They continue to meet. And I think the situation is getting better, and we want to get it better. It's in the interest of Burundi as well as in the interest of Rwanda, and I think we are on a good path. We just need to continue encouraging it, both sides working together. In any case, we need it. We should really, and if you look at what is it that should be in the way of a good relationship, you don't find it. At least there is nothing so important that should be equated with having a good relationship and working together and countries moving forward.
Then there is Uganda to the north, and the president had some advice for Rwandans.
Hari uburyo bumwe bwo kubyirinda ni ukutajyayo.
There is one way to avoid that, and that is not going there, because if you cross the border and they get a hold of you and beat you up or harm you in other ways, even steal your money and belongings, because that has also happened to many people. After returning here, what do you really expect me to do about it? What happened to you happened in another country with its own leaders, over which I have no control. So ask yourself if it is really necessary to go there in the first place. Why don't you just stop? I say this because I see no other option, but I do understand that some people have relatives there, because our history doesn't make the situation so straightforward. Some people have half their family here, while the other half is across the border in Uganda. Then there are the claims that Rwanda uses Pegasus.
But if you are saying, do you spy with this tool? The answer is a big no. No, in the capital letters. And we have told them that. Our people have told them that. We even told them, we said, look, there are those countries you have mentioned that use it, that actually even accept they use it, or that have not even denied it, which maybe they may take that it means they did not deny it, but that may mean they are using it, according to the journalists. But for us, we have told them, no, we don't have it, therefore we don't use it.
There is also the matter of funding Rwandan security forces currently operating in Mozambique on a peacekeeping mission.
I want to make it clear again. So far, until now, we are using our means. I'm saying we have decent means. We have, and which we are also ready to share with the friends and brothers and sisters. And so there is nobody who sponsored us for this. And I'm saying it on camera openly. So if there is anybody who says, no, you are lying, we gave you our money, please. They should feel free to do that. In fact, I'm saying this looking at our Minister of Finance. He knows how much we have been draining into this. But I think the outcomes and the cause are much, much bigger than the money we have spent.
President Kagame also confirmed that the recent discussions between himself and Ethiopian Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali focused on the bilateral relations between their respective countries and the problems in Ethiopia, but also stressed that Ethiopians are the ones that have the biggest role to play in finding solutions to their own problems. Asked about Rwanda's relations with her neighbor to the east, President Paul Kagame stated that relations have been good for some time now between Rwanda and Tanzania, and that both countries have been actively working to improve them further.
To other matters now, experts and some locals point out that there is hope that Rwanda will move into the middle income category, as the per capita gross domestic product has now reached $816, with just $219 remaining to achieve this goal by 2035. Jane Mutoni has the details.
The National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda data for March 2021 shows that gross domestic product per capita has reached $816 from $286 in 1999. However, the country has set a target of gross domestic product of $1,035 per capita by 2035 for Rwanda to enter the category of economically balanced countries. Mukankubana Royce says she has hope that this goal will be achieved. If we put more effort in foreign trade, in tourism and in entrepreneurship, there's no doubt that we will achieve this goal, because compared to where we've come from, we have achieved a lot so far, and this is due to good governance. In order for Rwanda to enter the economies of equality, experts say there must be a clear investment facilitation that includes a reduction in the required interest and also support investors all the way by removing the obstacles they face. A lecturer at the University of Kigali, Dr. Claude Rusibana, explained the level of investment needed to achieve this goal.
Ishoramari tugomba kwitaho cyane ni ugushora imari mu mpapuro mpeshamwenda.
We need to focus more on treasury bonds as well as encouraging investors to invest in buying shares in large or medium-sized enterprises, because when they do so, the country benefits and they also gain profits from the shares they bought. So this requires that we continue to have a stable management of these enterprises so that the public and investors can continue to trust them to properly manage their finances, because this will make them feel safe knowing that at the end of the day they shall get their profits.
During the period when COVID-19 pandemic had just hit in the year of 2020, the Rwanda Development Board estimated that the country had investments worth $1.3 billion from $2.4 billion in 2019. An economic expert, Straton Habyarimana, believes that Rwanda will achieve its goal by 2035.
akenshi experience cyangwa se ibyagihise mu myaka yashize byagiye bigaragaza.
Achieving this goal is possible because when you look at how the country has managed to quickly recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and its effects, the economic growth was faster than ever. Due to the efforts of the government in vaccinating as many people as possible, there is a possibility that the economy will grow much faster, as we have learned so during this pandemic in terms of focusing on all sectors, including farming, and not just on the service-based economy.
A report on human development in Rwanda by the United Nations Development Programme released in August this year shows that Rwanda needs a growth rate of above 9% to achieve this goal of becoming a balanced economy country. According to the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, in March 2021 report, the service sector accounted for 46% of the country's gross domestic product, the agriculture sector accounted for 26%, and the industrial sector contributed 19% of the country's gross domestic product. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Now, it's been sentiments of joy for people who use gyms and fitness centers services as well as swimming pools after they were allowed to resume operations. Service providers in this regard say that they are now making sure that their customers first present proof of being fully vaccinated and tested for COVID-19 within 72 hours.
Pool and indoor fitness services are happy that they have now resumed after being closed for a while due to the COVID-19 prevention measures. These services were predominant in hotels and hosts were the only ones accessing them. But now even walk-ins can access them as long as they show proof of being vaccinated for COVID-19 and a COVID-19 test within 72 hours.
Sometimes it's still serious at home or office. So if we can find a place like that, it will promote our business, make my client feel relaxing. Yeah, so I think that's a good place. And in the other hand, I think swimming can benefit my health. You know, because of COVID, it takes a long time. I stay at home, cannot do exercise outside. And actually, I love swimming.
The Minister of Local Government, Gatabazi Jean-Marie Vianney, says that service providers whose activities have resumed should take the lead in implementing the COVID-19 prevention guidelines.
This can work if we are working together or hand in hand with the community and other institutions, religious leaders, hotels and restaurants, places that host weddings, conferences, sports venues and other services that have been allowed to resume. The owners should take the responsibility of ensuring that people are washing their hands, wearing a face mask properly, and that they are constantly reminded to do so.
The cabinet meeting on September 1st, 2021 approved the opening of gyms and fitness centers, and the National Development Board issued guidelines for the opening of swimming pools, whereby those in need for those services should present proof of being vaccinated for COVID-19 along with a COVID-19 test within 72 hours in order to access these services as they continue to comply with the COVID-19 prevention guidelines.
A cross-section of people working in different trading centers across districts that haven't received the COVID-19 vaccine asked that officials in charge of vaccination extend the services to them because they now understand the importance of vaccination in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Some COVID-19 survivors, some of whom have been vaccinated, and those that haven't received the vaccine, wish for the COVID-19 vaccines to be distributed across the country to be able to protect the population against the severity of the pandemic. COVID-19 is such a terrible disease. I know so because I contracted it. People should embrace the vaccination program and not undermine the vaccines. Some people still believe that the vaccine has side effects, according to their perception. But for us outside Kigali, we wish that the vaccination campaign is extended to us, especially because people still have a poor attitude towards the vaccines and the COVID-19 guidelines. Districts that trade with Kigali were given vaccines, and priority was given to people more at risk of contracting the virus. Bugesera District Mayor Richard Mutabazi says vaccines are still few compared to the willingness of the residents getting them.
We vaccinated the elderly, those with chronic diseases, and we are currently vaccinating people engaged in business and those in the transport sector. The participation is high, it's just the vaccines are inadequate, so we ask only a few people to come for vaccines. Dr. Saban Sanzimana, the Director General of the Rwanda Biomedical Center, says the biggest concentration of vaccination started in Kigali City, but it is being extended to other provinces to increase the number of people being vaccinated. There are some districts where the number of people vaccinated is still low. I would say Kigali City is most affected by COVID-19, and 80% have received the first dose of the vaccine, and so this is extending to other districts to ensure an increase in numbers of those who are vaccinated, starting from the elderly, those with chronic diseases. But in Kigali, we have also vaccinated 18-year-olds, and as we get more vaccines into the country, they will be distributed across the country. 20% of people in provinces have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and this percentage is expected to go up after Rwanda received more vaccines this week, including the Johnson & Johnson, which is administered as a single dose. The Rwanda Environment Management Authority, in collaboration with the Rwanda National Police and the Rwanda Standards Board, has started an inspection of the quality of vehicles to determine the amount of emissions that can pollute the air. At a place commonly known as Sonatube in Kichuchiro District, Kigali City, traffic officers are seen stopping various cars for inspection to see if they emit excessive air pollutants. Some of the largest air pollutants in Rwanda are vehicles with an emissions rate of 13%. The Director of Operations within the Traffic Department at the Rwanda National Police says that there are some vehicles that emit pollutants without being first tested and are immediately taken for inspection. We stop various vehicles based on the tests we take. For the ones that have emissions, we advise the driver to take it for inspection, and then they will be guided on what to do next.
On Tuesday, Rwanda will mark International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies under the theme Healthy Air, Healthy Planet. Officials from REMA encourage motorists to inspect their vehicles as required by the law in order to prevent emissions as it affects the environment and human health in general.
ibyo twabonye nuko hari imodoka nyinshi zirengeje.
We noticed that there are many cars that go beyond the standards, and we asked them to go for inspection. We asked them to heed to this call out of their own initiative because it first of all saves them from the losses they could incur, but secondly because such emissions affect your health and others that could have long-term effects.
bahumeka bikaba byabaviramo kurwara indwara zitandukanye.
Some of the emissions that cause pollution in Rwanda are vehicles accounting for 13%, construction activities such as roads, and others accounting for 14%, and other industrial fertilizers at 13%. Now the new management of Rotary Club Kigali Jali is urging Rwandans to join charitable organizations in order to find solutions from amongst themselves without the expectation of foreign aid. Jean-Malik Kalima, the new director of Rotary Club Kigali Jali, who replaces Gerard Handika, says that as the participation increases, it will be possible to provide assistance to those in need using resources from within the country. Rotary Club Kigali Jali is already providing assistance to people struggling with poverty, and it also contributes to the distribution of clean water, the provision of quality education, the fight against diseases such as the spread of rabies, the protection of the environment, and the pursuit for peace for the betterment of the community. We will leave it at that for today. On behalf of the entire news production team, many thanks for your company tonight. Have a great week ahead. God bless and keep you. And until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi. Bye for now.